Hello and welcome to the Franchise Tag podcast preview show for the Week 8 matchups we have going on. Lots of exciting NFL to come. Already had a very fun competitive game on Thursday night with my co-host here, Adam, is ecstatic with the win over the Cardinals, right?
Yeah, I mean, just a little bit surprised, I will admit. But yeah, I mean, they did really well and stayed up far too late to watch it and paid for it the next day, feeling absolutely knackered. But yeah, it was a good win. And I have to say, just quickly, I feel it does show a little bit of possibly a life after Rodgers if he does go.
Wow. That's a bold statement from a Packers fan. I'm sure.
Yeah, I think the one thing that I know, there was a lot of little slants, a lot of run game, managing the clock. Didn't need any amazing plays from Rodgers. So yeah, I think it does show what LaFleur might want to do if he does go.
And also if Adams goes as well, because there's that lovely room as well. I mean, this is definitely food for fodder on our next show, which you can catch next week. I feel like this may be a topic we may bring up. We'll crack right into the Week 8 schedule. So obviously the bye weeks this week, it is the Baltimore Ravens and the Las Vegas Raiders taking a lovely rest for this weekend. Going to dart through these pretty quick. I've got a jet off to work today. I've got a big Sunday lunch day, so we're going to be going through these quite quick. We got the Bengals 5-2 going to the New York Jets. Don't think we really need to discuss that, do we?
No, I think Bengals win it easy. Really like Chase though, 11-8 anytime touchdown, I have to say. But yeah, I think the Bengals will win it quite comfortably.
I think if you're going to have Chase and an accumulator, that's a sure bet as well, because that's something that I like to do quite a lot, is do anytime touchdowns accumulators, and Chase is definitely a sure bet there. Jets will not be able to compete with the Bengals today. The interesting divisional rivalry matchup, the Titans at the Indianapolis Colts.
Yeah, again, another one that has kind of paid off over the last few weeks. Mo Alley-Cox is another one at any time touchdown. He's 12-5. I think he'll be good. When it comes to the game, I just think the Colts defense are going to be a little bit too strong for them. I think at the moment, the Colts are very much in a position where they need to win. Whereas for the Titans have got that little bit of a buffer because of them wins against the Bills and the Chiefs. Colts are at home. I just think the defense will be too strong.
I like the idea that the Titans can win this. I've not been backing the Titans very well at all over the season, and they burn me every time. So does Derrick Henry. I think they'll be riding really sky high from that Chiefs win, and they'll be looking at this, with really wanting to win this, because they know this is for the division, really, because Colts are the only people that are going to compete with them. So I'm going to take the Titans to win here, but it won't be by much. I think Derrick Henry is a little bit of an unstoppable force at the minute. Julio Jones, I do believe, is out of that game, which may influence things. The LA Rams going to the Houston Texans. Again, one we need to discuss.
Another one where you just kind of feel like the Rams are just going to be far too strong for them. Higbee, Stafford likes the tight end, so he's worth having a look at. And the Texans really struggle against the tight end. But yeah, I mean, the Rams should win it pretty comfortably, I would have thought.
I can imagine it's going to be a Dave Cooper Cup. Seems as we had discussed so much about him in the last show, where I made the case that he is the best wide receiver in the NFL at the minute. Go catch that show that is on YouTube, on all our social media channels, and on all the Spotify and Apple podcasts as well. A big game. I've actually, in a bad person that I am, didn't realize we were playing the Browns. I've all week been looking at stuff and not really realised who the Steelers have been playing. So the Steelers are at the Browns, 3-3 with the Steelers and 4-3 with the Browns. Obviously, the Browns without Kareem Hunt, without Nick Chubb, Baker will be playing. I feel like the Steelers can get them here. I think there's a few things that are going our way. The Steelers look better in recent weeks. I slammed the Steelers a couple of weeks ago for saying this was our ceiling and we're just not good enough that year. There has been improvement, but I think the game I talked about was against your Green Bay Packers, and that I said against the good teams we will struggle. We haven't struggled against the bad teams, or so to speak, the teams on the rise up. Denver Broncos we handled pretty well. The Browns are a team that I think I put in the Green Bay Packer echelon, but with the injuries they have, I worry for our secondary is the only thing. It's if we can get going. I expect Deontay Johnson to be heavily targeted in this game.
Yeah, I think he probably will be. I also think there's going to be a lot of running. I mean, the G Harris, it's going to be a low-scoring game. You got to think of it as though that's how it's going to be. I fancy the Steelers for this one. I think Baker's probably come back too quick, and I think they may end up paying for that eventually. You're going up against players like TJ Watt. All you need is for him to get to you a couple of times, and you might find that shoulder ends up getting injured a bit more. I think that for this particular game, I'll go for the Steelers just purely because I think they're a little bit fitter, and also they've just had the bye week, which is going to help them as well.
And I'd say this Browns team has been really dynamic. They didn't have Baker Mayfield last week, and Johnson, the running back, Case Keenum had a good game. They have guys who are capable. Like you say, for Green Bay, life without maybe Aaron Rodgers and Devontae Adams, or without either one of them. Is this maybe what the Browns could feel about this game with Baker Mayfield? Because his contract's coming up. There's been arguments for this team just not go through Baker Mayfield. It goes through their run game. It becomes expensive like quarterbacks do. Do you think that there's an argument in this game specifically without your top running backs against a decent defense in the Steelers, a divisional rivalry game? This could be a bit of not make a break for Baker, because I think there's still a long season to go. But these are the sort of games that maybe the Browns organization looking in the microscope are going, maybe we could move off here.
Yeah, I mean, it's a difficult one because I think there's going to be reasons like, he's coming back from an injury. He's not 100% fit. I think they are going to be genuine reasons as to why they will maybe give him some slack on this game if it does go wrong. Having said all that, yeah, he's a good quarterback. He's not a great quarterback. And this is where the problem comes in when you're having to pay the kind of money that you're going to be talking about for him. Could they go out and get themselves a quarterback that's maybe a little bit better? Who knows? They might be able to do that. So I think if he starts showing that he's stepping up, then obviously they will go for him, and it is kind of working. You do have to realize that it as the team, although they've struggled a little bit in recent weeks, it is working. Because the reason they've struggled is that the running backs have gone out injured. Losing Nick Chubb is huge, and I think it's a difficult one for the Browns at the moment because everything, the whole process of everything probably tells you to keep him and carry on and give him the money. But at the same time, if he's not going to be that amazing quarterback and he's not the reason that you're winning games, do you really want to spend that money?
Exactly. We move on to the Philadelphia Eagles at the Detroit Lions. I mean, a 2-5 team against an 0-7 team. You can't expect this to be fireworks. I think the Lions get their first win here. I don't mind some of the work that the Lions are doing every now and then. I think they looked pretty decent in the game that they lost last week. I can't remember who they played, but they were really competitive at times. Khalif Raymond. Look, it was against the Rams. It was against the Rams, wasn't it? And they looked all right against the Rams, I thought, for a large part. The Eagles offense, I don't know if it gets going well enough. They've not got Miles Sanders. They have Gainwell, Boston Scott. That could work. I'm just not really bought in on the with Jalen Hurts and the wide receivers. I'm just not too sure on that yet. He made some really good plays. Made really great plays to Jalen Reagor last weekend, and this Eagles defense is good, but I think this Detroit Lions defense has got some all right pieces as well. A lot of this is purely that the Lions have got to win one game at some point. I do admit that you'd hope they win one game at some point.
I mean, it is a bit of a coin flip, to be honest. I mean, the Lions have shown a little bit of improvement, but at the same time, they're not great. I do like DeAndre Swift. I think he's got a chance of scoring today. At the same time, with the Eagles, I think Dallas Goedert's got a really good chance of scoring because he is the safety net for Jalen Hurts, which is, I've said a few times. I actually think the Eagles are going to get this one. I can't back the Lions. They're just so bad. They, like I say, they have improved a bit, but they're not great. And I think with the Eagles have shown that they are actually that little bit better than what I think most of us thought. And because of that, I think that they're probably going to do okay. Obviously, they miss Miles Sanders, but Kenneth Gainwell is not a bad running back at all. He's shown he's decent. And you've got Boston Scott, who's been there for a few years. He's not bad either. So I think they'll probably just have enough but it won't be a game that I'll be watching, I must say.
Shout out to our good friend Gareth. Check out Adam not being an Eagle hater for once.
Yeah.
I'm sure he'll be watching at some point today and be surprised by our picks. And both of us are pretty notorious for a bit of Eagles hate. And for once, Adam is not hating on them, but I am a little bit, unfortunately. The San Francisco 49ers at the Chicago Bears. Again, close one. Could be a really close one. This could be if 49ers had all their fit, healthy running backs, this could just be run city for me. I feel like feels like a real old school running game. Big defenses, big defensive linemen. This could be really hard fought. This just goes down to coaching for me and for quarterback. Jimmy G is going to be playing. I like Justin Fields. I don't like him enough to beat the 49ers. I think their defense is just a bit too good.
Yeah, I agree. I think it's probably the same as what we've said for a lot of these games. It's going to be pretty run heavy, pretty low scoring, not a lot really going to happen. But I think the 49ers defense is just that little bit better. Don't get me wrong. I mean, the Bears defense isn't the worst out there, but it's just not capable. And so yeah, shockingly, Green Bay Packer fan picks the opposition of the Bears.
Headline news for you there.
Yeah.
The Carolina Panthers go into the Atlanta Falcons. 4 weeks ago, I just said Panthers walk all over the Falcons here. I've got a sneaky suspicion the Falcons might win this game.
Yeah, I think it's really difficult to back the Panthers given what happened last week with Darnold. It's such a tough one to go for. I mean, the only thing that the Panthers have got in their favor is that they are playing against the worst ranked defense in the league. But I mean, you've got Pitts there, you've got Calvin Ridley back. Matt Ryan is doing what Matt Ryan normally does. He's not great, but he's all right and he's decent enough. I don't know. I get the feeling that the Falcons might turn them over. It might be one of the more exciting games as well. I think this one. I think the Falcons might just get it. And when it comes to the Panthers, we were speaking about it before. I really don't know what they're going to do with Sam Darnold and all this Deshaun Watson talk and whether that's going to happen or not. But it's becoming a bit of a mess there now, which is a shame because they were looking good.
Yeah, well, that's what I mean. At the start of the season, we were going on about how we all said Panthers would take a step up, and it was like, oh, they are taking a step up. And now it seems in the last 2 weeks, it's like, what's happened? This is just completely U-turned. And like I said, Matt Ryan does what Matt Ryan does, very efficient, critical in gameplay. He just has the worst defense next to, if it doesn't help him out. So he has to be great. Fortunately enough, he has players that can be great. Kyle Pitts has really stepped into his own in the last 3 weeks, ever since he got his first touchdown in front of our very own eyes here in London. It seems like he's really then taken the step up. Can really be back huge. They have players that are that are underrated and doing well. Cordell Patterson's a player like that. Russell Gage is a player like that. Hayden Hurst gets involved. They are not as bad as maybe people think, but it is entirely offense is why they're not that bad, which is what we said would never be a problem with them, especially Ash, who predicted a very, very large record for Atlanta, which could still happen theoretically, but very, very doubtful. The Miami Dolphins at the Buffalo Bills, a game at the start of the year we would have said, oh, this is going to be a real nail-biting close game. This could be for the division even.
Yeah,
I mean, anymore.
Yeah, no, it really isn't. I think this is going to be a bit of a walkover for the Bills. Another one. The Dolphins don't quite know what's happened. Had such a promising end to last year, did really well, and just have completely fallen away this year. The defense hasn't been as good as what it was. Tua has had like little niggling injuries, which has been a problem. The only bright spark on that team seems to be Mike Gesicki. But even then, you're going up against that Bills defense, so I wouldn't be touching anything in it. And I think the Bills will win it quite comfortably.
Sorry, I've just noticed Ian Rappaport has just tweeted that about the Dolphins-Texans situation with Deshaun Watson, that it's looking close. as Tuesday
Oh
night.
wow! I mean, we haven't heard that before.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, it seems like every day it feels like it's getting closer, but is it ever going to come? For me, I could honestly see if the Bills shut down Gesicki or any of the tight ends, because that has been their game the last few weeks, tight ends, and they play it really well. Gesicki has looked like a top 5 tight end in the league. For me, he's looked really good because he's getting majority of targets. He is really working this team. Seems to be their offense, really. Wouldn't shock me if they lay a goose egg here. I think if the Bills are a good enough defense, and Bills have already done it twice this year, I think, they had someone not scored. I think the Dolphins and their tight end Gesicki matchup there he's more than there's more likely going to be points on the board, I'm sure, whether it be field goals or whatever. But this Bills defense, divisional rivalry, are they at home as well? I did to say they're at home.
Yeah,
they're at home.
Yeah,
it's getting cold now up in Buffalo compared to the Miami players. I just think Buffalo have this tendency to just look. They're a really good team, and then some weeks they just jump up above and look like the best team in the NFL. And this is one of them games. They've done it to the Dolphins before. I could really see the Bills walking all over them here. The New England Patriots at the LA Chargers.
I think for me, this is going to be a bit of a revenge game for Justin Herbert. I have to say, after the massive loss last year, I think that they're going to want to prove a point against the Patriots. I think their offense is just that bit too strong. There was talk about Eckler not playing, but now it looks like he is going to suit up and he's okay. So to me, I just think, although the Patriots have looked okay, you've got to remember they were playing the Jets last week. So there is a little bit of you got to temper the expectation a bit. I think Damien Harris is great. I think he's the one who's clearly the number one running back there and will probably have a decent game. But for me, I just think that Chargers offense is going to be too strong and too explosive in this one.
And I think their defense is going to be maybe too good for the Patriots offense as well. I mean, Mac Jones has looked efficient and good, but this is a good defense to come against. Be a bit of a revenge game for Hunter Henry as well, who was obviously at the Chargers for such a long period of time, not there anymore. I like the Chargers. It's an AFC divisional rivalry thing with me. I just can't back the Patriots here. I like the Chargers a lot. I love the direction they're going in. I love Justin Herbert. I would like them to win. Maybe that doesn't maybe mean I think they'll win, but I would like them to win, so I would go for that. The Jacksonville Jaguars at the Seattle Seahawks could have been a blowout, but again, could be a bit different this game.
Yeah, I mean, it's a little bit of a tough one, really, because the Jags have shown a little bit of improvement. Not a lot, but a little bit. The Seahawks without Russell Wilson are just not the same team. And also without Chris Carson as well, the run game.
And it looks like Alex Collins is a game time decision.
Yeah.
It looks like he's going to be.
It's really, really difficult to kind of go with the Seahawks, but you just kind of feel like you have to go with the Seahawks because they're at home and you've got Pete Carroll and it's the Jacksonville Jaguars and they're normally pretty bad. So yeah, I've gone for the Seahawks again, but to be honest, I wouldn't be touching it. So
I am, if it wasn't at home, if it was at Jacksonville, I'd go for a Jacksonville win here. But Seattle's such a tough place to go, especially for Trevor Lawrence being the rookie quarterback that he is. I'm still going to go Jacksonville just because I think they're a healthier scratch. But it's by fine margins, fine margins. Like I said, it could have been a blowout game if Russell Wilson was available, but unfortunately he's not. Washington football team at the Denver Broncos should be the match of the two Titan defenses, but doesn't seem to be the case here.
No, it's again Washington. I mean, the Packers played them last week. They did not look great at all. I know it was at Lambeau, but they really struggled. The Broncos offense, Teddy Bridgewater again, not exactly doing great. Got Jerry Jeudy back apparently, so that's one positive. For me, I just think when I looked at it, I kind of thought, oh God, I don't know who to pick here. But I had a look, and just looking at the rankings on the defense, you've got the 9th best defense in the Broncos and the 23rd best defense in Washington. And I think that will probably be enough in what will probably be a low-scoring game, not particularly exciting. But I think the Broncos at home with that defense will just be strong enough.
This screams a game for a last-minute field goal to me.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, it'll be like 21-21 or something like that, and then it'll be a last-minute field goal.
I think you're being a bit optimistic that there's going to be 21,
20 points. Yeah. Maybe more like 14 or something like that. I go the Broncos as well. Jerry Jeudy being back's pretty big for them. Von Miller looks like he is going to be playing, I think. And like I said, they are a very good defense. Patrick Surtain's a player that's not been talked about a lot as a rookie defensive back who's been really good. I mean, defensive back's not an issue for the Broncos. They have about 10 really good defensive backs. But they're a good team. Taylor Heineke's not going to have a good day against the Broncos. I nearly mixed up. I nearly said New Orleans Buccaneers, but it's actually the Tampa Bay Buccaneers against the New Orleans Saints. A divisional rivalry again, one that we thought would be for the division. I think people didn't believe in Saints as much as as well as they have done this year. They didn't think they would be this good under Jameis Winston. Not that they have been excellent under Jameis Winston. Bit of a revenge tour for Jameis Winston, I suppose, going back to Tampa Bay and actually starting and being starting quarterback. So what are you going here?
So I think it's going to be really tight. I think they're both really good teams, really good defenses, and I think it's actually quite difficult. Again, another game I wouldn't want to be anywhere near it to bet on, but I feel that the Bucs with Tom Brady, just that little bit more experience, a little bit better than Jameis Winston, will be able to have just a bit more cohesion in the team, to be honest. And I think there's talk about Gronk coming back. I think he's going to be limited, but there's talk about him coming back, which is a massive plus for the Bucs.
Still without AB though.
Yeah, they're without AB, but when you got Mike Evans and Chris Godwin, and it's not too bad.
Miller, Tyler Johnson, all of them.
With the Saints, I think it is predominantly Kamara. I mean, I know they've got Callaway there and a couple of others, but it is predominantly Kamara, and whether Mark Ingram starts, so whether they can get that run game going a bit, then that's good. But I think the Bucs are just going to have that little bit too much.
They're coming up against one of the best nose tackles in Vita Vea and one of the best defensive lines in the league. Though it may have not played up to that level yet, it is one of them. And I think for me, this is about playmakers, and the Bucs just have more playmakers. But I don't think this will be high scoring at all. I think it'll be quite low scoring. I think it will just be. It'll be a low-scoring one. This could go down to a field goal as well, or just a handful of points, really. I could imagine maybe a last drive sort of thing. Again, it's just trusting Brady, isn't it? He's the most efficient quarterback out there. He's the best quarterback ever. These are the games that he lives for, and he wants to win the most because they're divisional games and they're important to the Tampa Bay franchise. We move on to the late-night game, the Dallas Cowboys at the Minnesota Vikings.
Yeah, I mean, it was funny because instinctively I just went Cowboys. Just instinctively I went for it. And then obviously everything that's come out with Dak and whether he's going to play or not. And I think this is basically a game time decision as to who's going to win this game.
Why is Dak not playing? I've seen it, but I don't actually know the reason as to why they don't want Dak to play.
I think he has a calf strain, doesn't he? Is it calf?
Okay.
I think it's a calf strain, and basically he's been limited for the last week or so in practice. And I think, to be honest, it's something from what I've read, it's something that he's not going to know whether it's 100% until he literally goes full pout on it and finds out. Do you really want to potentially risk that for a game against the Vikings when you've already got a pretty good record? You don't want to necessarily risk that for now and make it worse and miss more time when you can sort of like maybe push it a bit harder in practice next week and just give him a bit more time. It just seems a bit of a silly thing to do. I think if that's the case and he doesn't play, I think the Vikings will win it. I think if he does play, I think the Cowboys will win it. It is that simple. But the one thing I would say, Zeke is evens for any time touchdown. If Dak doesn't play, then he's going to get a lot of the ball. So
he will be the Cowboys' offense if Dak doesn't play, I think. And I'm not sure who would start over Dak Prescott, but
I think it's Cooper Rush, isn't it? They're talking about.
Okay, so yeah, Cooper Rush, not exactly a scratch on Dak Prescott. I completely agree with you. If it's all about Dak, Dak don't play. If Dak plays, they win. If Dak doesn't, they don't win. The Vikings though are sneakily getting better. They have been like progressing upwards. Though they've not been that impressive, they have been like getting better. What a great matchup, Justin Jefferson, Trayvon Diggs. But that leaves Adam Thielen to maybe be a bit more free, who's completely capable as well. Exactly. Conklin, their tight end, has been performing pretty decently, and Dalvin Cook hopefully is going to be, getting a lot of work. So, well, for me, I hope anyway, he's on my fantasy team. And then we come to the last game of the week. Shame that our co-host isn't here with us today, and that is the New York Giants at the Kansas City Chiefs. Is it the panic button now? Patrick Mahomes, he's done. It's a wake-up call. He's rubbish. He was on the cover of NFL Madden twice. It's the curse. He's now caught up with him. Is Daniel Jones going to go to Arrowhead and show Patrick Mahomes that he's just a human like everybody else is?
No. I think with this one, I think this is, although the Giants looked a little bit better, they played the Panthers, who had no offense at all. I think the Chiefs are gonna put a few questions to bed in this one. I can see the offense coming back, and I think they just need to keep things a little bit simpler. I think really Mahomes just needs to maybe calm down a little bit, keep things a bit simpler, be in the pocket a bit more rather than running so quickly. And I just feel like this is the one where they'll sort of get it back on track a little bit. Whether that means they'll get it back on track when they have to play some decent teams. I know they got the Packers the next week. That could be a problem. But I think against the Giants, I think they'll be too strong.
It's funny that a couple of weeks ago I said about Patrick Mahomes, and I said I know it's not going to be popular, but I want him to stop doing the flashy stuff and just go back to basics. And all of us said that's like why we really like Patrick Mahomes at the same time. And then last weekend, the Undisputed with Shannon Sharp and Skip Bayless did the exact same coverage of story of Skip Bayless going that Patrick Mahomes seems to be playing up to the image of Patrick Mahomes. He's trying to do things that we think of Patrick Mahomes, and really he needs to be just winning games. We didn't call it here first, I suppose, but that's what you say. You've repeated it again. We just want to see them win in a really good way. And Patrick Mahomes not have to be a superstar to do it, and just be really good, a good throw of the ball, time management, finding the right receiver, utilizing the right weapons in Hill, in Kelsey, in Pringle, in Hardman. I mean, I worry about this defense is anything, but the Giants' offense is so banged up that this is a Chiefs win all day long.
Yeah, I do worry if maybe Mahomes is still kind of thinking of last year and the O-line that he had in front of him last year, and that is what is kind of he's still not quite over it, and that's what's causing him to run out so quickly. You do wonder if there is a bit of that, but I mean, I'm not quite sure who's going to be playing for the Giants on the offense, but I mean, Barkley's been out. He's not looked good when he has been in, to be honest. He hasn't looked 100% fit. Golladay's struggled. Sterling Shepard, I think he came back last week, but he's struggled with injuries. They just need to get their offense fit and also improve the O-line a little bit. But I think the Chiefs would take this one.
Yeah, I agree. That's all for the Week 8 preview show. Really appreciate you joining us. Go check out our main show that is already on YouTube, on the social media platforms, where we discuss all things NFL. We then also have the fantasy football show, which is on Thursdays live. That's really great. Go check that out. We had a good friend of ours join us from the league that we are running. It's a bit more of a relaxed show. Bit of fun on that one as well, and talking about fantasy football. Check out Adam's betting tips on our socials as well, that come out every now and then, which he loves to do. Thank you for your continued support. Enjoy Week 8. I'm sure it's going to be a nail biter. This is where the seasons can turn. Playoff teams become winners. Teams that were on the margin go out. This could really be a make or break week for a lot of teams. But until then, have a great weekend. Enjoy. We'll see you all soon.